flex bone double slot offense. That's near and dear to my heart. Okay, before we jump into this rocket toss, I want to talk with you guys real quick about my contact information you see on this slide, and then also where you can find me. So I run a Twitter account called Three Face Football. It's all things devoted to triple option. I do something called Mesh Point Monday, which is a Twitter chat. We also now have a YouTube channel. The Mesh Point podcast, me and my buddy Coach Matt McLeod up in Virginia, we interview triple option coaches. And you can follow that Twitter account or just Google the Mesh Point podcast. We also created a YouTube channel for that and a Facebook page. If you guys have any questions for me later, just hit me up at my email address right there. And I just wanted to also talk with you guys real quick. Use those media links I just gave you. Use them as resources. They're free resources. You don't have to pay money to get information about triple option football. Go to those different social media accounts, and you got free resources. The one free resource that Matt McLeod does, my buddy, is Flexbone Nation. I wrote this article for him on the rocket toss, and I'm going to go over with you guys today. It's a free online resource. You don't have to pay any money. You just go on there. There's over 80 articles, videos. He's got that thing set up real nice, and he even rolled out a new YouTube channel. So with all that being said, I'll put this up at the end when we get done, and we're going to go ahead and jump into the rocket toss, okay? Let's go ahead and go. So why run the rocket toss, right? Why we run it? So it's a predetermined. It allows you guys to get your best athlete on your team, the fastest athlete, give him a touch, allow him to get that ball and help contribute to help the team win. And, you know, you don't have to get your athlete to learn the whole playbook. You know, I used to be at a school at East Bay there where we had a lot of athletes on our defense, or you guys are at schools where you have to share players, two-way athletes. And this is a great play to be able to have them come over and contribute on the offense without having to learn the whole playbook. You can just plug and play them. And I have those athletes always come, hey, coach, let me get that rocket. Absolutely. You know, get them in there and increase their touches. Let them showcase their athletic speed and, you know, their speed and their athleticism. It's going to look good on their highlight, and you're going to look like a smart coach giving your best player the ball in space. And I don't know, I'm going to tell you a quick story real quick about when we went to Zephyr Hills. We had a kid named Jamal Roberts, and he played wide receiver in a spread offense the year before we got there. And they were telling me, man, coach, he's like the 8th fastest kid in the state of Florida. And I'm excited, you know. So I go to Max Preps and I Google his stats. He only had 12 touches the year before playing slot receiver. We moved him to quarterback, and we would also throw him in at slot to throw him this rocket toss. Anyway, long story short, he ended up with over 100 touches in that season of 2011 and 24 touchdowns. So I'm just telling you, like, you can be recruited inside the double slot flex zone offense. You know what I mean? It's a chance, running plays like the rocket toss and playing, being an athlete at quarterback. You know, they will see that you can play and yet you're athletic. All right, let's move on. Why do we run the rocket toss? Also, it fits our philosophy. I think this play marries up with the triple option very nicely. And the defense now has to prepare not only a game plan for option, but they got to make a game plan for the rocket series. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. The philosophy that we believe in is numbers, angles, and graphs, or the NAG method. So as we're going through, you know, the different slides and how we attack defenses, how we use a systematic approach to game planning, I'm going to talk about attacking the smallest numbers, okay? We're going to talk about attacking the softest edge, and when all things are equal, we're going to attack grass. We're also, you know, going back to angles just real quick, you know, we're going to try to outflank the defense and use those angles. I think using angles is underrated. I think there's a lot of focus nowadays on using moving people, you know, and what's the best way, you know, to do that. I think using angles is tried and true. And we love the complementary plays off of the rocket, belly down. I love those plays: counter, play action pass, and a boot. I actually did a a video on the rocket boot. It's pinned on Three Face Football Twitter account. If you go there, you can kind of check that out. I think it's an answer for the blitz. You know, these teams that want to stop your inside veer and come up and pop all the gaps with their linebackers, you know, we'll use it as a check. Okay, you want to bring up your linebackers and blitzes. We'll check out of it, get out of the trash, and throw the rocket outside and get out of there. Our last reason is down here, number 5. It says rocket is similar to fast screens, but more explosive. Okay, so we live in this world where people want to run a spread offense, you get the ball to their athletes out in space and throw these screens and things like that. But I'm telling you, rocket is very similar to that, but it's more explosive. Okay, I think that you're going to see some of my film today, and you're going to see at times where we don't block the safety or the play side backer. I call them free runners, unaccounted for defenders. And I think you can still produce positive yards even when you don't block those guys. But it's very similar to the fast screen in the fact that, you know, take your 2-over-2 and spread in the gun. You know, you'll throw a bubble or a quick out there if, you know, let's say the safety's above the hard deck at 7. You're going to, you know, block the low defender and then trust your athlete in space to be able to beat that one guy. But it's the same kind of thing with rocket you'll see in some of the clips I'm showing you today. You're not really worried about the box players because you're pitching the ball so wide, trying to out-leverage the defense with the pitch, and then you're just blocking up the perimeter. How is it different than the fast screen? Also, think about a bubble or a quick. The kids just kind of standing there or just barely moving. Where a rocket, you know, we got kids moving 100 miles an hour like a bullet. You know, at that point, defenders, you know, you can outrun those box players or you can outrun people on the perimeter, and it's a business decision those guys have to make. Do they really want to jump in there and make that tackle, you know, on a kid that's moving that fast? Last thing, I think you lose the rocket when you get into gun. I've been messing around with the gun offense a little bit here in the last year or two, and that's one play that you kind of lose when you make that decision to make a switch to the gun. It's one of my favorite plays. It's a big 5. It's a play that's a staple of your program if you're a double slot flex bone team, and you kind of lose that when you get into the gun. All right, let's get into the rules, okay? I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit for you guys. I know I'm getting a little bit long-winded. Okay, we're going to get into the rules now, okay? Let's talk about offensive line base technique, okay? First of all, rule-wise, we don't have to block anybody from the C-gap back on the rocket, okay? So this is a lot of information. I'm going to try to go through a lot fast for you. But it's important information. So I wanted to make sure I included it all in here for you guys, okay? The offensive line are going to use a rocket step. So basically they're pulling flat and getting flat to the sideline for a good 3 steps before they're going to turn up and work to that next level. It's going to look like the elephants on parade here. I've got my little picture here for you, right? But this is just giving you detail about how it works. I'm going to read it to you because I think it's important about how we coach up the rocket step. So we're talking about all 5 linemen up on the line of scrimmage, okay? They're going to use the rocket step, okay? They're going to push pivot off their inside foot, throw their outside elbow back, and open their hips and drop step. And I'll give you some pictures of this here in just a minute. With their outside foot, run flat play side to get outside and play side shaded defenders and up to their landmarks. And we'll talk more about their landmarks in just a minute, while not allowing the defender to cross their face. Defensive linemen from the C-gap back do not need to be blocked because the pitch is so wide, eliminating them from being a factor. But it is absolutely crucial that these defensive linemen cannot cross the offensive line's face, or they can be a huge factor in making a play on rocket. The defensive line must be forced to go back door. So O-line pulling flat serve as a run-through protector. Okay, you'll see some of that in my video here later when they try to blitz or, you know, an outside shaded defender tries to penetrate straight up the field. Okay, they're going to act as a run-through protector, protecting, you know, keeping their body between the ball carrier and the defender. Okay, the technique we teach to our offensive line whenever we're rock and stepping is to steal second base. Again, I'll show you some pictures of that here in a minute. We tell the O-line to get their helmet and face mask, an outside toe pointed to the sideline, then they run flat 100 miles an hour towards the sideline. Once around the outside shaded defender, they can turn up, and in some cases, there's a crack block, and we'll talk more about our tags here in a little bit. On an overhang linebacker, we teach the tackle to run the hump around the pile created by the crack block. Okay, let me give you another picture to look at real quick. Hey, growing up, I was a big Ricky Henderson fan. You know, I was a big baseball fan, and we used to have the slip and slide out in the yard. And I'd pretend I was stealing second base like my favorite baseball player, Ricky Henderson. So I tell the kids, on rocket step, we're trying to be Ricky Henderson. All right, be Ricky. So steal second base, push pivot off that inside foot, throw that elbow back, your outside elbow back like you're starting a lawnmower. You know, you got that string and you're pulling to start that lawnmower. First step should be pointed. Your first step, your face mask and toe should be pointed at the sideline as you're running flat. Sprint flat for 3 steps and then arc up. And we're going to be working linebacker to safety. Okay, let's get into more specific landmarks for the play side tackle and the play side guard real quick before we move on. Okay, play side tackle will pull flat and arc outside any defender covering him, head up to outside. Okay, so he's got to beat him. Okay, he's got to beat him. Can't if he doesn't, that guy has a chance to get upfield and get involved in interfering with the flight of the ball. So he's got to beat that guy across his face. Okay, the landmark for the play side tackle is going to be the safety, and we want him to win outside leverage and try to circle him. Play side guard, he's trying to get to the play side linebackers. He's going to take the same kind of steps. Okay, rocket step. If he's got a 3 technique, he's got to get flat, try to beat that, get outside of that 3 technique before he gets up to the linebacker. Okay. The rest of the O-line, we're not really worried about blocking any first level defenders. We're trying to rocket step, get outside the play side defender, and then climb second to third level looking for some kind of a cutoff, okay? We'll talk about this maybe a little bit later, how guys do it a little bit different, but that's how, you know, I would install it there with those rules, okay, for the offensive lineman. Okay, wide receiver rules. Here we go. Play side wide receiver on the rocket. You're going to see 2 different type of coverages. If your defender is off and soft, you're just going to stop block, or if he's up in your face and press man, you're going to outside release, mandatory outside release, and run that defender off. I'll show you some of that in our film. Okay, if you're the number 2 wide receiver in our any kind of trips formation, okay, or over formation, we'll block this is basic rules. You're going to block your cover down. So if there's a defender covering you down, you're going to block him. If he's pressed up, you can kind of do the same kind of thing. Run him off if he's in man coverage. You're going to block your cover down if you're that number 2 receiver. If the force defender apex is between the number 2 and the number 3 wide receiver, the number 2 receiver will work up to the safety. We have some different tags I'm going to go into hopefully here later, about 3 or 4 different tags. But these are the base rules for that number 2 receiver in the trip set. Okay, backside receiver. Your rules are very basic, same matter of fact as it is on inside veer. Verse 1 high, cut off the corner, versus 2 high, try to work and get that backside safety cut off. Okay. Now I'm going to show you guys some video of the wide receiver coming down on a crack block. We call it cloud. I'm going to show you that in some video here in just a minute. Okay. Let's get into play side slot rules. Okay, this looks complicated, but I promise you, once you get things going, you're giving the kids the different looks. It's easy. Okay, so here we go. To a split inside, play side slots rule on rocket. He's going to block the force player, who we identify as the number 2 pitch key. We want to try to circle that defender, win outside leverage. I'm going to show you what the footwork looks like here in just a second. Drop step crossover footwork. How we do that is push pivot off our inside foot, throw the elbow back. Very similar to what I just told you for the rocket step, okay, for the offensive line. Pull the lawnmower string. We must have depth on our slot's first step in order to adjust to a hard force corner, or a hard force player, my apologies, a hard force player. And it gives us time to adjust our path with that depth step, okay? Here's the deal. As we're attacking the outside force player, we want to try to stretch his outside number, like we're going to try to circle him, okay? Like we want to get outside leverage, really stretch that outside number. And if that force defender doesn't want to give up his outside shoulder, okay, then at the last minute, what you'll do is you'll be up and through the inside V of his neck, and you'll kick him. And then that running back will just duck up underneath. I got some good video of that too. I'm going to show you, okay? At the end of the day, to split inside, play side slot is going to block the force defender. Okay, it could be an outside backer. It could be a an outside linebacker hot up on the line of scrimmage, like a 9 technique outside linebacker kind of kid. Okay, overhang. All right, here we go. Play side slot to a nub. You're going to block the force or the corner. Okay, we'll go into that here a little bit later. I got a diagram on that. And then if you're ever to a side where there's a tight end or a third man, three-man surface, you're going to block the loose force defender, okay, or the most dangerous man. Remember that on our next slide, we're going to go over tight ends rules. Tight end is going to be responsible for reach blocking the D-gap defender. And so you're just going to release outside and block the next defender, most dangerous man outside of him. Okay, so, but we're going to go into how that kind of works here in just a little bit. Okay, let's talk about the slots footwork real quick. Let me go to my huddle. You guys will laugh at me. I was out in my, I was preparing for this, so I was out in my my yard, and I said, I'm just going to record these guys. I'm just going to record the drill that I go through. I just bird dog at the footwork with my my slots. So here we go. Pretend this is a line on your field, okay? And I'm just going to hit play and kind of talk you through it, okay? This is going to be a play side slot. And he's using drop step crossover footwork, okay? Drop step crossover, drop step crossover, drop step crossover. And I'm putting them on that line so I can check, are they getting depth on that first step? And I'll add this. You want to not just get depth, but you want to get width. Depth and width. So I say drop step with width and then crossover is what you're trying to achieve, okay? So this trash can is my force defender. He's a loose force off the line of scrimmage, okay? With my first step, okay, let me see if I can slow it through here. On my first step, what I want to do is I want to try to get my outside hip set on an angle where I can capture outside leverage on the outside hip of this. Remember, we're attacking the outside number of the force defender. So that I don't use, step at a 45, 60, or 90, none of that. I just say, drop step with width and take the angle, get on the proper angle that it's going to take you to be able to capture outside leverage, your outside hip on his outside number, okay, or his outside hip. With our hands, what I'm going to try to do is have him use his inside hand, get to the outside armpit of the defender, and then get your butt turned, okay, to kind of get him circled. Anyway, that's kind of how we do it. Coaches, I still have some eligibility left if you like my skills here. No, I'm just joking around. Remember I told you I was going to show you wide receivers footwork. Okay, on a crack block. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and show you this. Okay, I got my wide receiver. I got him compressed, a nasty or flex formation, whatever you guys call it. I call it crunch. I crunch him down. Okay, this is going to be like an overhang inside of the receiver. I like to switch my feet up. I give my permission for my wide receivers to do that. And we're going to aim at the V of the neck here of the force defender. So we're just trying to use our angles and pin them to the inside, crack block them. And I got them here on the line. And I want them stepping on the angle straight to the V of the neck. And then you'll see here at the end here, I'm stepping flat. You got a hard penetrating overhang. He's straight up the field. We're going to have to take more of a flatter step. So that's kind of what I'm trying to simulate here. Okay, as opposed to getting to that V of the neck, we might need to step more flatter. Okay, let me get back to the PowerPoint, and then I'll show you some drill video here in just a second. Okay, all right.
Hey, Coach. Real quick, this Coach Cam. I think you'll have to change your screen so we can see the video. I'm not sure we saw the video. So if you're going to move forward with going back and forth your screen from PowerPoint to video, whether it's Huddle or whatever, you'll have to do that on your end.
Oh, that's my bad, guys.
That's all right.
I can do
Yeah.
that. Share. Can you see it now? Coach, can
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We could see, yeah, the video with the trash can and yep.
Man, I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
Sorry about that, guys. Here's my footwork. I'm on a line. I'm doing the drop step crossover. Drop step crossover. Remember, I'm trying to get width on my drop step as well. Okay. You're not just losing ground. You're trying to gain lateral, trying to get lateral at the same time as you're getting depth. What I was talking about with the my hip, I'll show you real quick when I show you an image of the trash can, okay? On that first step, boom, I'm trying to take a step that's going to allow me to get my hip, my outside hip on an angle to capture the outside number or outside hip of this trash can or this force player, okay? I'm going to run and circle this defender. So I'm trying to take that first step where I can get this outside hip on his outside of his outside hip and win outside leverage. Again, this inside hand, I'm trying to get it to his outside armpit. And that's kind of how we teach it there. Let me go back and let that run there at the end. There you go. Drop step crossover. Okay. All right, let me show you real quick the wide receiver stuff. Okay. Stepping inside, aiming for the V of the neck, right? Stepping inside, aiming for the V of the neck. Okay. Now, if he's a penetrator, he's straight at the field, you're going to have to take more of a flatter step down the line of scrimmage. Okay, thumbs up strike. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on back to the PowerPoint. Guys, I'm going to try to go as fast as I can. Okay, here we go. Okay, so as a slot coach, these are the looks that you're going to have to work with your kids. You're going to have two different looks. You're going to have defenders going to be off the line of scrimmage and defenders that are on the line of scrimmage. Okay, so off the line of scrimmage, you got three different looks. Basically, you're going to have an outside backer, what I call loose force. Okay, you may crack with the receiver in an exchange where the slot's going around the crack block, and he's going to block probably a corner. Again, kind of like a loose force player. And then you're going to have him arc up to safety, which should be exactly what he does anyway on inside veer. I like to use a exercise ball from Walmart, and I like to roll it to give them a moving target. Down here, guys, you have an overhang. And without any tags, the base way, because that's the force player, you're going to have to teach this kid how to reach this force defender. So he may be out leveraged and have to be able to, he may have to reach him up. That's a difficult block. You know, I don't like to do it. I've done it in the past. I've got some video of us doing it, but you know, maybe you can get them on the sled and have them work with another person, use shield, whatever. But that's something that you're going to have to cover with your kids as well. This is just kind of the same thing I just showed you on the video, a breakdown of my first and second step, that drop step crossover. Okay, tight end, and then we'll get into quarterback, fullback, and then wrap this drill up, okay? All right, tight end. It looks like a lot going on, but really you just got two things you're doing. You're either going to reach or you're going to arc. How you determine which one you're going to do? Here we go. You're going to identify if the force player on the defense is he a loose force or a tight force. A loose force is going to be a defender off the line of scrimmage back at linebacker depth. Okay, tight force is going to be an overhang, a bare defensive end, or a 9 technique. I think I have to share the screen again. Coach, you see my screen okay?
Yeah, we're good. I can see you.
You can see my PowerPoint?
I can see your
Or are you in huddle?
huddle page.
I screwed that up. Here we go.
There you go.
Guys, I apologize. Defenders that are off, these are the looks. Okay, arcing an outside backer, corner, or safety, or a loose force type player. This will be an overhang which is that tough deal with the defenders on the line of scrimmage. These are the looks you're going to have to rep with your slots. Okay. All right, here we go. Tight end rules. Okay, reaching or arcing. Okay, you, help the tight end learn what the difference is between a loose force and a tight force, and then these are the rules for the tight end versus those different looks. Okay, one more time. A tight end, a tight force is going to be anytime you have an overhang, some kind of a bare defensive end, or a 9 technique, however you phrase it. But it's any kind of stand up that's outside the tight end. When you have a loose force, so you don't have an overhang standing up outside you, you're going to use these rules. You're going to pull flat, similar to the rocket step, and get to the alley blocking linebacker to safety. Okay, play side slot will block the loose force. Versus a defensive end that's head up to inside of you, this is when you're going to use that technique, a loose force technique. You're just going to get up, work linebacker to safety. Okay, when you got a tight force, you're going to have to reach them. Okay, so we're talking a 9 technique, overhang, or maybe a 6 technique that slants out with the motion. Okay, I got some scenarios here that I wanted to cover with you guys. If you had a tight force player, but he defends you, the defender knifes inside of you, let him go and just work linebacker to safety. Okay, if you had a tight force player that squats, where you can beat him across his face outside, let him go. Okay, we'll work up to the next level. Remember that pitch is going out there wide, and we're going to beat him with speed, beat him with leverage on our pitch. Okay, and if the tight force defender aligns in a tight or heavy alignment with his hand down in the dirt, you think you can beat him across his face outside, let him go and work linebacker to safety. Okay, backside tight end rules, you're just stupid. All right, fullback, your job is easy. Okay, we're gonna cheat your alignment maybe up 1 step. Okay, so we can kind of hit this play a little bit faster. You got the easiest job. You're just gonna run inside veer through the butt of the guard and kind of just fake your triple path opposite. This is the same path you'll do anyway on a boot. Again, I got that boot video up on 3-Face Football. Go check that out, and I'll show you kind of how in a minute how we incorporate this into our rocket drill in running the boot path. Anytime we tag special, we're going to cheat the fullback over to the B gap and scoot him up a couple steps, and we're going to add him to the perimeter blocking to help gain a hat. He's just going to work linebacker, safety, or hit the opposite color defender he sees. All right, quarterback. Your job on the rocket toss is we're going to go ahead and stagger your feet. Okay, so if we're going to the right, we're going to have you put your right foot back and have a little stagger. If we're going to the left, we're going to have your left foot staggered, and it's going to help you kind of get depth away from the line of scrimmage and kind of get you into the pivot. Okay, the first step for the quarterback on his toss is going to just be a punch step, pick it up, put it down kind of deal with his play side foot that's staggered back. So if I'm going to the right, you'll pick your foot up, you'll pick your right foot up first and put it back down. You're going to step on the balls of your feet. Okay, take your heel off the ground basically so that you can get it spinning on your pivot. Okay, now as you're countering out on your pivot, you're going to have 2 hands on the football. Quarterback will pivot around and lunge into his toss. We want the quarterback to follow his toss for 3 steps before he boots. The lunge and the 3 follow steps puts enough velocity on the ball on the toss so the ball doesn't die. Quarterback should stay low through his lunge, which will keep the ball from sailing on you. And the path of the ball should be from your hip to his hip, hip to hip, and your hand should never rise above your chest. The landmark for the toss, we're going to show you that drill here in just a minute, is going to be 1 yard outside an imaginary tight end. We want the ball to be tossed outside and in front of the ball carrier. You got to lead them. Okay, this is going to be a heel line cone. It's a heel line toss. Okay, or I'll show you what that means here in just a minute. Okay, you Harding guys, you got a heel line cone and a ball line cone. I want to put that in there for you. Timing wise, how do we time it? The quarterback should send the slot of the wing, right, into motion and do not start his cadence until the slot that's in motion disappears outside of his peripheral vision. So we use a ready, set, go. That's our cadence. So we send him early, and we don't start our cadence until he disappears out of the quarterback's peripheral. We want to really stretch that that perimeter as far as we can on the outside. All right, here's rocket drill. I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of get into some video so I don't run out of time. This is on the article on Flexbone Nation, this same exact slide. Let me go ahead and do that. New share. We're going to huddle, guys. Here we go, rocket drill. All right, here we go. Let me back this up for you. This is how we practice it. Let me get this backed up a little bit for you. Okay, let me tell you about the setup first, and then I'll let it kind of run a little bit. Okay, we got one of those strips right here. Everybody uses a lineup tool, whatever you call it, little strip. Okay, right here we got a cone simulating where the fullback's butt would be. Or sometimes I'll throw the fullback in there. Okay, these are a line of all my slots. I just put them on a line here. Okay, and they just go one at a time, repping through this drill. We have a coach here snapping the football. I'm over here. I got another coach over here. And then I want to talk to you about this pad right here. Matt, now, so like this will be where the tackle is. And remember, we want to pitch that ball 1 yard outside an imaginary tight end. So we put this drift pad right here about where that pitch should occur. Okay, I know Harding guys, you guys call it a heel line cone. I love it. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to have this line of kids. The next guy up in the drill is going to stand here with his feet on the outside foot of the slot going in motion. What we want to do is eliminate false steps. So this kid here that's going in motion. When the quarterback tells him to go in motion, he's going to push off that outside foot without taking a false step, and he's going to aim for the tail of the fullback. Once he gets to the tail of the fullback, he's going to get on what I call the highway. We don't want him to bubble this thing because that'll cause fumbles to happen and inconsistencies to happen. We want him to get on this highway, okay, and run flat, okay? Run flat, and he doesn't turn up until he catches the football. We want to really try to stretch this as far as outside and eliminate these box players as much as we can from being a factor in the play. Okay? Let me go ahead and let it go a little bit. I'll tell you this: once the running back catches the ball, once the slot catches the ball, we want him to put the ball in his outside hand, and we want him to run a path of hash numbers sideline. Okay, hash numbers sideline. You can kind of see my quarterback's got a stagger. His left foot's back. He's going to take a punch step, and then get the ball pitched outside there. Now, he didn't do a good job of chasing it for 3 steps. Yeah, he did. He did a good job. Chase for 3 steps. Chase your pitch for 3 steps. Pitching it hip to hip. He lets his hands rise above his chest a little bit there. Kind of makes the ball go up a little bit. And then we're going to have the quarterback boot around here. Boot around this pad. Hey, this pad is called a drift pad. Again, it's to prevent that slot from drifting back too far. We want him to get flat. So it basically allows him to stay on the highway. We don't want him to go above. He needs to be under that pad. All right, a couple of things. You notice, kind of where I'm coaching over here. It allows me to, talk to all these running backs here, getting a rep on what that guy just did. I'm asking him, hey, did you see that? Did you see what he did wrong? Did you do this? Did you do that? And then you'll see this running back right here, he's returning from his rep and he's going back to the end of the line so I can give him some feedback on what he did, correct, what he did wrong. The quarterback coach down here, he's coaching up the hash number sideline path. He's coaching at his quarterback. He's able to kind of talk and do his thing over here while I'm over here doing my thing. Quarterback's going to stand back here, okay, kind of out the way while the other guy's up there getting his rep. I'm going to let it play a little bit. I think it's important.
Coach, just to let you know, you got about 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you. All right, two last things I want to go before we move on this drill. I think with this, you really want to know how to coach it. So, are you going to get upset at the quarterback when the ball gets put on the ground, or you know how to get onto the slot when the ball gets put on the ground? And I think that doing this drill, you'll get the feel for whose fault it was. Okay, we want to really challenge our kids. This slot here, we want him running like his hair is on fire, like a Rottweiler's chasing him. He's moving 100 miles an hour. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to outrun the pitch, because he knows if he can run this pitch, that quarterback coach is going to get on his quarterbacks, and that's why that kid right there is doing 10 push-ups. He's knocking out 10 push-ups because he had a bad pitch. Okay, so these guys are really trying to get these quarterbacks to do push-ups, right? These quarterbacks are trying to pitch this thing out here at Country Mile, okay? And, maybe have these running backs do some push-ups because they didn't run fast enough, or they didn't take their path correctly, or whatever the case is. So they're challenged. We're challenging these guys to, really stick it to the other guy. But I think it helps you out overall with practicing this drill. You got to know who to yell at. Do you yell at the quarterback? Do you yell at the slot at the end of the day? Make sure the quarterback is getting that ball pitched deep. We want to lead this running back. We don't want that, we don't want to pitch it too short, okay, without any depth. Because remember, this running back staying flat, okay, you're going to have some inconsistencies that happen if he under pitches it, okay? Maybe under pitching is going to allow this overhang to run up and get involved in the in making the tackle on the play too. You're going to see some clips where we should have blocked an overhang, but because the depth of the pitch was so deep and this running back was so flat and we got the pitch so wide that this guy was a non-factor. So anyway, we're just trying to really dial this in, focus on those small little details. I hope I'm doing an okay job here at kind of explaining myself. A lot of detail going on. We do run B-back toss also, so that's kind of what's going on here. I got my B-backs, doing the same thing. They're going to stay on this highway, run flat. Now, as far as when they leave, we time it up to our cadence. Remember, I'm a ready, set, go guy. So I tell my fullbacks to leave on the R ready. And I think one thing you got to do if you run this B-back toss is you got to tell the referees ahead of time he's not false starting. I've gotten called for several penalties on that. And but he is allowed to go in motion, but he's got to run flat. Okay, if he runs towards the line of scrimmage, that is going to be a penalty. But it's the same coaching points as you would coach your slot. Yeah, this guy standing here, I don't know why he picked that spot to take pictures. Don't do that. That's what not to do. All right, we're going to move on now to, we don't have much time left, but I'm going to move back to this PowerPoint and show you guys as much of this as I can. All right, let's get into kind of how we coach it or teach it to our kids, okay? Basically break it down into 4 formation umbrellas. We're going to teach it in rep it versus split to a split inside, and that can involve numerous formations, okay? We're going to rep it to a trip side, okay? It could be empty, could be over, could be trips. We're going to rep it to our nubs, 2-man surface and a tight end surface, and we're going to use it versus to some tight end unbalanced. You'll see what I'm saying. I just think it makes it easier if you rep it like this, with your rocket pod. If you can break it down to these 4 umbrellas, it'll make it easier for you guys to teach your kids. They'll understand their rules, and they'll be able to adjust on the fly to anything. Okay, to a split inside, 4-4 defense. This is what I call loose force. This is a number 2, the force player. That's who the play side slot's going to block. Your receiver is going to have, this deep defender, the corner, and your tackle, your play side tackle, is trying to get out there and go get that safety. Okay. I'm not going to talk about the backside here much. It's going to be pretty much consistent across all these slides that you see. Now, on this slide, I did draw it up where, we are blocking play side defenders. We're blocking play side defenders, and that's to kind of prevent some run through. I know some guys don't do that. They just pull flat for 3 steps and then climb second, third level. And that's great, but you cannot allow penetration, particularly at the center and A-gap area, okay? So I drew it up. If you wanted to install this and be safe, you can block up play side linemen, and anybody uncovered work second to third level. I just kind of wanted to explain why I drew it up there, okay? All right, fullback's going back, and your receiver on the backside is just working a cutoff. All right, to a 3-4 defense, now you got a tight force play, okay? This 9 technique, outside linebacker, overhang. He's hot up on the line of scrimmage, okay? So what you'll do, he's number 2. So your play side slot has to reach him. It's one of the hardest blocks in football. The tackle, he's arcing to the perimeter, blocking the safety, okay? And versus man coverage, remember, out here with this receiver, if you got man coverage, mandatory outside release, I'll run that guy off. I got some good video of where that corner just takes himself out of the play. It's great. Okay, 4-3. There's 2 different ways that I classify 4-3s. I call it a 4-3 stack and a 4-3 hip. Okay, 4-3 stack is going to be anytime this stack outside backer number 2, if he's right behind the defensive end or maybe tucked inside of the B gap area, we'll just kind of treat it like this, where we'll arc the play side slot, and he's kind of checking like a progression to make sure that that outside linebacker doesn't fly out, but he's just going to go up and block the safety. We do this also versus a 5-2 bear. I got a bunch of clips of that where you'll see he just literally, this edge is really soft, and we're just going to get the ball out there right now and get going. We love seeing this look in a 5-2 bear front. We love seeing that with a DN with his hand in the dirt. Okay, tackle's just going to pull flat, and he's just going to work linebacker to safety. Okay, all the rules for everybody else is pretty much the same. Notice I got the little red dot here. Remember, that's where the pitch is going to be received, which is 1 yard outside an imaginary tight end. Notice this path, climb to the fullback's tail and get flat. Okay. All right, here we go. This is going to be a 4-3 hip look, and this is going to be where the outside linebackers start to get outside the box a little bit more, like an outside linebacker. This is really like a loose force. And you can block it that way. I got some clips where we just block it like we did the 4-4 almost. But I like to use this tag. I call it cloud, and it's just switch blocking the perimeter. Receiver's going to come in. You can compress the formation a little bit, bring his split in, and you just exchange the slot and the receiver. Tackle, he's got to get out there wider, really run flat, and got a boogie to be able to get that safety. Backside receiver's got to cut off on the too high safety there versus a too high look. Okay, now the play side guard, I haven't been speaking about that much. He's got to take a path where he can get that play side backer cut off. Versus a Mike defense, 1 backer in the middle, you're going to cut off the Mike. 2 backer, you get a play side backer. Okay, here's that 5-2 bear defense. Okay, this is a cloud tag. Again, I like to use versus that. And again, you're just exchanging. Receiver's coming down using that footwork I showed you on the video earlier, stepping flat if he's a penetrator, and we're just trying to get outside of it. Now this tackle is going to have to really get some depth to get around that trash. It's going to be a little garbage pile there of that crack block, and slotch this up there on the corner. This is the last one to the split inside. We'll get in empty sometimes, and we can get the secondary to rotate over to the strong side over there, and that leaves you over here with a loose force situation, where you got 2 guys on the perimeter where there's only 1 really defender that you got to block. I say 1, really there's 2. You got the corner you got to deal with, whether he's man or if he's off, you just stalk him up. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you some video of this real quick. And then, Coach, you're probably going to cut me off at some point, I know. Okay, you guys got me back on huddle, right? Okay, here we go. I got empty left, and this is going to be versus a 4-4 team. And they had the free safety come cover down our number 3 receiver over here to the left, and they bumped the backers. It left us over here with a loose 4. So you can't see a receiver out here, but he's got a corner. We just got that one outside backer in corner to block. We got it in there for a touchdown. Okay. So this is a rocket to the left. I'm sorry, rocket to the right. We just call it 58 and 59. Okay. This is going to be B-back toss to the left. I call it 58F. Okay, notice we got man coverage. This corner basically takes himself out of the play. I made a note, play side tackle. He's up on that free safety and he ended up tackling him. We got a daggone penalty. But again, it's a loose 4 situation. This slot, he's just on that outside backer versus this 4-4. Okay, here we go. We got a 4-4 again. Okay, in a 4-4, I call this guy loose 4s. Drop step crossover the slot, and we're just going to block him up on try to get his outside number. Okay. We have to kick. Okay, there's an example of a kick. We're stretching his outside number. We end up kicking, and then the running back is just ducking up underneath. You'll notice with the offensive line, we use the G scheme here. We try to influence this defensive end by stepping down, get him to squeeze. And I thought I could get my guard to that play side backer, but I couldn't. We got caught up logging that. We ended up logging the D end. So what I'm trying to tell you is that play side backer is a free runner. But with that pitch so wide and that kid being an athlete, we just outran him. We didn't never get the tackle up on the free safety here. That's what you lose as well. But he's above the hard deck. You know what I mean? So I'll take that every day. My athlete with that much space and that much grass. And you see, I got 2 unblocked players, 2 free runners, and I'm getting a big first down here. All right, this is a 4-2-5. And, we're going to run it to the field here where this nickel is. We probably should have ran it back over here to the trip side because, these guys are so deep over here and there's no nickel. There's no force player over here. Really, it has to be the safety of the corner over here, really. But anyway, we check it. We didn't check it. We kept it to the field. And so it's really the same kind of look. You got a loose force here. This slot's going to drop step crossover, try to get his outside number. Tackle's going to try to get up here on the safety, which he doesn't. He's going to screw up here. But I think my guard does a good job here of getting this play side play side backer cut off. So I'm going to show you this clip. This is from empty formation. Watch that play side guard again. He's going to get this play side linebacker cut off. Rocket step, try to capture that outside number. That's a pretty good job. I don't know what my play side tackle did there, y'all. I probably fired him. Positive yard, had a free safety as a free runner. All right, here we go. Now we're going to get into a 4-2-5 defense. We're running to the strong side of it. And we go ahead and compress. And we're going to crack the force player here. He's a loose force, but he's that nickel. Okay, that's over there. We're going to go ahead and exchange and send this slot outside the crack to the corner. Tackle's going to pull flat around all that mess. We're going to get out on the perimeter. We'll run that back, and you watch that receiver one more time. We didn't switch feet up that year, but he comes down and he gets outside leverage. Good angles, big rip. All right, here we go. We got a 6-2 defense, it looks like. Here, I cheated the fullback play side, and we're going to incorporate him into the perimeter blocking. We're going to crack the force. Okay, we're going to pull the slot and the safety and try to get an extra half play side here. Not bad on the crack block, the cloud. Our tackle did a bad job there of not beating this DN across his face. He went underneath of him, and that caused some problems with our slot getting there late out to his block. But anyway, again, free runners, you're getting a positive gain. All right, here we go. This is going to be a 4-3 hip. Too high. This backer's out of the box out here. So that's going to be a loose force. This slot's going to arc, drop step crossover, try to get this kid's outside number, pull the tackle to the safety outside. And he's got to run. This kid could do, our play side tackle boy, he could run. He was an athlete. I don't know if you can see that. That's him at the end cleaning that safety's clock. He could move. You'll see right here at the end. Boom. Love it. Fat boys on the perimeter, man. You got to love that. My guard here, he actually beats the DN outside of his face too. Not only did he beat the 3, but he beat the DN. We were moving here, man. Pretty good rip. 4-3 hipped again, too high. Loose force. Good job by the slot. Tackles out up on that safety. Safety didn't want no more of it. That's a big rip. Let this run one more time. Play side guard's trying to get the mic cut off. Does a good job there. I hate when the kids grab and reach. You get stupid holding penalties that way. Just got to capture outside leverage and make your guy go back door. All right, here we go. This is 4-3 hip versus empty. We're going back weak. Tackle does a good job there of beating the DN across his face. Aiming up to that safety out in the alley. I think here, I can't see the safeties, but I remember the safeties kind of rolled. They were too high, and they rolled them up to the midline, and the other one to go cover down number 2 over there on the trip side. So I think the safety was in the middle of the field that we were attacking here with this tackle, if I remember. Maybe I'm wrong. But the tackle does a daggum good job. From the slot, he ends up kicking that outside linebacker. And the running back just ducks up underneath. I don't know what my guard was doing.
Hey, Coach, that's really good stuff. I appreciate it. Hey, you know, we do have a question from Coach Payne. Let me see here. Find Coach Payne. Coach Payne had a question. Do you run screen away from the rocket?
Yes, we've done that. We call it a little smoke tunnel screen. I guess it's Tony Franklin's system, air raid crap. It would be a solid screen. But heck yeah, it's a full flow play. You know what I mean? So any kind of counter screen, back the other way, absolutely that would work. And it's been a good play for us in our offense. Absolutely.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
All right, Coach Payne. Thank you.
Yes.
Coach,
all right, guys. Hey, Coach Rodriguez, I appreciate you. Really good stuff. I mean, there's so much detail and just, you know, and just a couple of plays, right? So appreciate you breaking that down for us. Guys, I think Coach put up his information there at the start. Maybe, Coach, you can put that up real quick if you can. Some of these guys that maybe joined in late or whatnot can get your information. I'm sure Coach is open to a couple other questions you might have.
absolutely.
Right? Hey, I appreciate you, Coach Rodriguez. Great job. And you know, we'll stay safe out there, out in Florida. Everybody that's on, we're going to roll right into our next meeting. Our next speaker's already on, so we'll roll right into him and keep going here. Appreciate everybody. So if you want to just hang tight, we'll get going here in a second.